After David killed Goliath, Israel was happy to be free from the terror of the Philistines, but not everyone was pleased. King Saul didn't appreciate the fact that the women in Israel sing, "Saul has killed his thousands, but David has killed his 10,000s." Envy and jealousy built up in him as he heard people singing that a shepherd boy had killed 10 times more soldiers than he had. In spite of this, David was invited into the king's palace to play the harp for the king. But envy, jealousy, and bitterness would build up to a breaking point. King Saul's son Jonathan and David were very close friends, and on several occasions Jonathan interceded for David and persuaded his father to make peace with him. However, as the resentment and envy built up, and as his father wouldn't humble himself, it came to the point where David had to flee the palace and go on the run. Initially, he went to the town of Nob, and there in the tabernacle, he got the sword of Goliath. However, the priest who helped him, Ahimelech, and the whole city would eventually pay the ultimate price as King Saul killed them all in a rage. Leaving Nob, he went to Achish, but when they found out he was the one who had killed Goliath, he had to leave. Fleeing to the cave of Adullam, he found rest there for a while until Saul pursued him. Then he went to Keilah, then he went to Ziph. Pursued in each location by an angry king, he remained on the run with his men. Then he fled to the mountains of En-Gedi, where he found rest in a secluded cave. Here, David hid for a while, but somebody told Saul. David was in a cave with his men when King Saul entered the cave. David's men urged him to kill the king, saying that this was the providence of God. David's conscience spoke to him, though, saying, "Touch not the Lord's anointed." His men still encouraged him, and so David cut off a portion of King Saul's robe. He felt bad about this, though. As King Saul was leaving the cave, David called after him, saying his men had told him to kill him, that he wouldn't, that he cut off a part of his robe, but he felt bad about this and was sorry. Saul's heart was touched, and he realized that he was completely in the power of the man whose life he was trying to take. They made peace here in En-Gedi, but based on Saul's past assurances, David had little hope that his change of heart would remain, and so he stayed here in En-Gedi, in these mountains with his faithful men. David was learning through all these experiences, and each one would eventually help him when he rose to take the throne. David made mistakes, but God's hand was over him, preparing him to be king. David would become the most famous king in Israel's history, and it was through his bloodline that Messiah would come. Here in En-Gedi, he demonstrated a foresight, respect, and honor not normally shown amongst men of war. It was this respect for the position and person that God had anointed that further set him apart to be a leader and have such great responsibility later on. May we have respect today in our lives for those that God has called to service and not destroy them with our critical actions and words.